Greetings, one and all. This is Lloyd Brown giving full endorsement to
Stock in Promotion, Royal Blend Radio.
the station with integrity, the station with a difference. Remember me tell you, Lloyd Brown says so. Full Darcy.
Stock in Promotion, Royal Blend Radio.
We not stop till we drop. Saying, bless.
Yeah, it's your girl, Kerry Lopez. I'm so right about now. I'm representing for SPRB Radio Podcast. Not no normal about that. So I'm a 10-star general. Big up yourself. And the beautiful host herself, Sharon Mango, Kerry Lopez in Jamaica, representing for the podcast show there. I'm going to tell the people, check it out. Not no normal about the settings for me. I send you there, you know what time it is. They come see me. Yeah, I tell you, say whenever I wanna mix business with pleasure. Yeah, man. I wait there. Check out the podcast now, man. 10-star. Tell them, the man.
This is Yami Bolo from out of Jamaica, and I fully endorse SPRB Radio Podcast with the 10-star General and Sharon Mango. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. Bless the love. Yami Bolo said that.
This is Jojo Mack, and I always tune into the SBRB radio podcast with 10-star General and Sharon Mango. If you love a good conversation, you should too. Check it out.
What a track, what a track. I absolutely love that particular track amongst many. She has a brand new album. It's called The Kingdom Call. I went straight into iTunes and invested in that album, and I think it's money well spent, well spent. I do recommend it to anybody out there who's looking for some real great music, you know, and she's our guest here. Her name is Indra. Indra, how are you?
Hi, grateful. How are you?
I am absolutely great. Please meet our super duper sister up there in sunny New Jersey, Sharon.
Nice to meet
It's
you,
not so
Sharon.
sad to be here. It's so nice to meet you, young lady. Indra, it's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you
Such a
too.
pleasure. Yes, such a pleasure. Beautiful girl, young
Thank you.
lady.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear anything about you before, prior to us getting notification we were going to interview you. And listening to your voice, it's like you have this, she has this old soul to her voice. You know what I mean? She's like from
body.
in a young body, she's got this old soul, old feeling, like those back in the day music where, you know what I mean, it's educational and spiritual and warming. You were such a young lady, young woman. You just an old soul, beautiful, really
Thank you.
beautiful music.
Thank you.
Well,
I don't know what to say.
Well, the truth. Listen, you're gonna come on our show. We're gonna tell you what it is.
Okay.
We don't play with the words, especially me. I haven't played with them. I tell it like it is.
Same
And
here.
really-
So that's
so we really study music a whole nother way. We really study music a whole nother way, and you have an old soul feel.
Thanks. I've heard some names by some legends that I don't, maybe I know a couple of their music, but I have heard like some people say it's like reminiscent of these jazz artists like Ella and Shirley. But I don't really know much of their music.
Yes.
Obviously, that's the pure classics. So that's amazing. That's an honor for me, you know.
Well, that's a beautiful thing.
That's
You're
an honor.
reincarnation. You are a reincarnation of many of these artists. I promise you that.
Wow.
You are the new instrument for these artists.
Oh my goodness. What in the world, Sharon?
Hey, that's how it is sometimes, you know. You may not have heard about them, but they know about you.
Wow. Well,
Mhm.
thanks for that. Yeah. And I will do my homework musically too.
Yeah.
It's clear. Yeah, some homework to do.
Yes, for sure.
So tell us, which country do you reside from?
Barbados.
Well,
Tiny little island.
Boy,
I
good
love Barbados. I love
You
Barbados.
you
I
came
Um,
here before?
minister too.
yes, my aunt lives out there.
What?
Yeah, I love Barbados.
What's your favorite part? I mean, like not
Uh,
area, part of it, or
well,
beach.
I don't even know how many beaches I went to. I walked from one beach to another. That was what
Yeah,
was
yeah,
amazing to me. I walked
yeah.
from one beach to another. Oh, I love it.
Oh,
Beautiful.
sweet. Okay.
They must
Yeah,
be interconnected, right?
yeah, kind of, sort of, It wasn't even that much of a walk. And
Right.
then
Yeah,
going
they're
into
literally.
the
Oh,
cave.
sorry. Yeah, they're literally real close to each other. Once you could
Very
walk
close.
around the coast, you could tap a couple beaches one time.
Yes, that's what we did.
Mm, okay.
A couple, and we went to the caves. That was the most exhilarating experience. Going
Mm.
to those caves and seeing all those millions of stalagmites or stalactites, whatever you call it, was amazing. Woo! I can't wait to
Mhm.
go again.
This is a beautiful place from what I've
It
seen.
is.
You know,
It's
people,
beautiful.
and
Yes.
Sunny Downs is up there as well.
Yeah, yeah. But oh, I love it out there. I love it. But I have family there, so
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well,
Well,
well.
yeah, tell you what, I've been reading your bio, and it's a very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. You've had a very interesting journey. This show
Hmm.
is all about really taking people, back to their earliest memory, and you just walk us through your journey.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to take us back to, home life and how music became involved, brothers, sisters, all that kind of stuff. Listening to something called a jukebox or the or was that before your time?
Yeah, that was before my time,
I
but I
was
heard it. I heard these things, but
You heard about it, Lord have
yeah,
mercy. I feel
it's not that far ago. Not that far ago.
Well, take us
Yeah.
back to your early memories and how music became part of the family household.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I I'm always remember myself singing from like literally I was a child. As I think most children do. Music is so influential. So it's not to say you become a singer, but it was so clear that that was something that I love to do and that people like my mom's friends and stuff
Yeah.
they love to see and hear. So it was kind of a clue from early. And
Right.
then my mom is she's a singer. From since I was in school, she was a touring choir member. So
okay.
she was like she's from Trinidad and Tobago, and
Oh,
she was touring with the Sicilian Singers, which was a big choir back in the day.
yeah.
And she was and still is in a Trini Parang band. So the house was always full of like jam sessions, parang parties,
Mm.
and multicultural music. So music was always being played. My mom was always singing while she was cooking in Spanish, and we had French students, so they introduced me to like Zouk Love, and so it was just like always around. Apparently, my dad played steel pan, but I only know him after he was ill. So I don't know him in those days, but apparently he played steel pan. I have an uncle who was a steel pan maestro, lots of
Oh.
musical cousins. So it's all around.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh, wow. As you speak, it's like I could hear the Bajan accent and so forth. I love hearing it, by the way. So it's almost like I hear a bit of Trini and Bajan in it.
I know I hear it.
Apparently,
Look, I hear the 22. I hear it
You hear
too.
the Trini?
apparently.
So it's not just me. So my
No,
ear.
no, no, no. I hear it too. Yeah, yeah,
All right, good.
yeah.
But so you say your dad was in a steel band.
Yeah, I think he used to play steel pan, but I obviously I didn't know him in them days. That's probably his youthful days.
Right.
So I have to ask for
Mm.
the details of the story. But he had multiple sclerosis, so I only know him when he was ill. But I
Mm,
do remember
Oh,
hearing those stories of like his musical days
right.
being steel pan. Mm-hmm.
Before I
wow.
go any
Yeah.
further, let me just thank Sharon Bentley and Philip Gadd
God, right.
for introducing us, to you. They are the people who made this happen. So enough respect to those people who made this, happen, and Sharon Mango.
Yes, a big thank you.
Yeah, all three of you, I give thanks. Like I say, it's always great to hear a great voice and a person who has a journey. I was also reading on here about, your land that you like planting and all these sorts of things. We're just going to go into it today on this show. I'm going to hand it over to Sharon because you've seen her bio, right?
No.
Sharon. Oh, you didn't see it? Okay.
I didn't get it.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay, yeah.
Well, don't worry, we'll get into it. But yeah, Sharon, take over.
So Indra, you told us about the all the musical connections. However, tell us about what it was like for you in school. When you were in school, or when you started school, did you aspire to be anything else, knowing you have all this musical talent around you? What was it like for you growing up in school?
I always wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to be a singer and be an air hostess, only so I could travel.
Yes.
Other than
Me
that
too.
And so music took me all over the world. I always wanted to sing. And in school, I think thankfully I struggled with the more left brain, subjects, but I was thriving in English and Spanish and art and even geometry, geology, what do you call that thing? Geography, because you used to have to draw the rivers and stuff.
Right.
But early on, I met two singing sisters, and one of them went to school with me. So after I had my days of, I would be writing songs. Like when I finished my work, I'd be writing songs in class and singing them to my friends at lunch and stuff. And when I grew up a little bit and I met her at secondary school, we just became singing sisters, singing all the time, harmonizing to people, entering school competitions. And through seeing my mother touring, I knew it was possible, but coming from a very academically strong island, that's not something that is generally perceived as anything, far less in these times. So it was a struggle that I tried at different things. It was just clear that I thrived at music. So I didn't have any doubt in my mind that I was going to be a singer. I just, when I went to college briefly and I left college, my allowance stopped. My allowance was $2 a week. So from a teen, I had to $2, girl. So I had to start financially supporting myself from a late teen, and from then I basically had to get very innovative supporting myself. But school, I had lovely friends, kind of spoke and mingled with everybody. It was just, when people see me now and they hear that I'm in music, they're not surprised at all. So I was just always singing.
So were you writing at that time, or were you, matter of fact, that's not my question. My question is, who were your influences at that time in music?
Well, I loved Sade, Gloria Estefan, the band Kassav, Nitty Gritty. I love me some Nitty Gritty. Garnet Silk, that was my first CD I ever bought. And a lot of chutney music, a lot of Trini music that you might not know. And then obviously the mainstream American artists and stuff, but I got over that quickly. I loved, how could I even forget Tracy Chapman? She really spoke home to me, because I was playing the guitar from those days as well and writing songs. So yes, I was writing songs in school. So she was really I just really loved the open honesty in her music, and just the organic form, and the tone of her voice was so not show-offy, but so memorable. I just really, even now, she's just set apart. So I really love her and Sade and like Gloria Stefan and Juan Luis Guerra, who's I believe he's from the Dominican Republic. Hopefully I'm right. A Spanish singer. And Gypsy Kings, the end.
Oh, Gypsy King. Okay.
What? Yeah. For the guitar and the harmonies, my goodness.
Oh, they are just great. Genius.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if
So
you know
she
Enya.
has.
You know Enya?
Yes.
And yeah, for the harmonies. Who I cannot get enough of her Gypsy Kings.
Who did she mention?
Anya.
Who?
Enya, Enya.
Enye. Oh, never heard of that one.
Yeah. Harmonies.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing vocalist. Yes.
It's amazing. It's amazing you speak of Tracy Chapman, because as enormous and as great and phenomenal and all the other great words I could use for a person, she never ever got her dues, did she?
I think I think it seems to go that way a lot. But one thing I learned about it, it still didn't take away from, and sometimes those things are what makes your music set apart and so memorable, you know. I hope that one day she does, because a lot of people, even they're singing a lot of remakes of her songs and don't even know that the original is her. So you know, the father don't sleep, so you know, everything in its time. So yeah, she definitely has not been recognized, as have many, but she definitely has not been recognized for just her level of contribution and the state of her music, hopefully one day.
Oh yes. Like you said,
I'm sure it doesn't define her, but hopefully one day.
Yeah. I mean, Tracy Chapman for us over here. I mean, she was a phenom though.
Did she sing Fast Car?
Yeah.
Fast Car. Anyway, don't let me destroy her music with my voice.
Nah. Yeah, she has so many gems. So many gems.
So many songs, but hers was a combination of folk music, folk, conscious music. It was just her whole delivery. The tone, the uniqueness in her voice that would hit home.
And the storytelling, like the story.
Folk.
My goodness, she's brilliant, man. She's brilliant.
I remember when she did come out and how big she was, just one little lady. Guitar. And she just captivates. She just captivates her audiences. That's what
without effort.
Yes.
That's her essence and her music. Yeah,
for real. So well,
continue.
Yeah, that was definitely influential.
Right. Okay. That's what also your influences are, because listening to your music, it's a little bit of different people, but the word I was looking for before was kind of folk telling, strong folk telling, again, spiritual, conscious. You've got it all. I've listened to it. You are that person, but it seems like what first propelled you was your songwriting. And tell us about how you met Eddy Grant.
With the same two singing sisters. It used to be 4 of us actually, but after our first studio session with him, 4 became 3. Eddie is quite meticulous, so it was 4 of us, and we used to sing at the two sisters' house all the time, like perform for the friends and cook and eat, and people would be over. It was kind of like an open house. And one of the friends who visited, she just after hearing us a good couple weeks, she just casually mentioned that she would like to introduce us to her father. And then we were like, oh, okay, cool. Who's your dad? And she said, oh, Eddy Grant. And
what?
Well, that's what we said. We were like, what? You didn't say a word, man. But that would be a hard thing to lead with, you know? So I think, you know, for people who are famous, you know, you probably just want to be seen as just a regular, you know? So she was. And then we got to meet him, and he was like, okay, you know, nice harmonies. And Eddie doesn't mix words. No, he's, yeah, nice harmonies. Okay, y'all wanna, at the time, you want to, make bus get New York and make it big and all that kind of thing. You guys, that's fine and dandy. You're gonna come, you're gonna start doing background vocals and learn the discipline of recording, discipline of the studio. And then we basically just got introduced to his family. Started recording for all the Trinidadian veterans, like Calypso Rose, Mighty Duke, Rest His Soul, Super Blue, Roaring Lion, all of the stalwarts of Trini Calypso. And so we recorded on a lot of their records. And then one by one, my sister, she went to England. She started a family. Her sister, who kind of got roped into it because of us, because she has a really nice voice, but she didn't really want to be a singer. Well, a professional singer, because she still sings for her family. And so then it was me just left, and I started working in the office for Eddie's wife, and just like giving tours, feeding the animals, and
Wow.
yeah, just like handing people guest juice when they come, and then getting my turn to do background vocals, and then I had the chance to record an album there. So yeah, it was just life for a good few years while I was nighttime working in hotels. Obviously, I had rent to pay in them days. I was a teen, but I still had rent to pay. And working in hotels and doing ads and plaiting hair and all them kind of things to pay the bills every 4 to 5 weeks. Yeah. And then we've been friends from since then.
So he basically became your mentor.
Yep. And he's the one, because he encouraged my songwriting consistently from those days. And just used to tell me, because of the trends and mainstream, he would say, don't get frustrated. If people don't recognize this, don't get frustrated. If it looks like you're doing a lot of background vocal, just don't get frustrated. Just keep writing. And he would always make time. Even this album, me and the producer, Kris Kemist, we went to go and see him play the album before it was out last year. And as usual, he listens through to anything I produced along the way. And he just always has made time. Sometimes I get contracts or like publishing offers, and the contracts are just too high for me. The language of it is overwhelming. And sometimes I would take, anything that's over, and would say, can you look at this for me and just translate this in everyday language? He will never tell me like, oh, don't do this or thing, but he would just explain it to me. And so his family is, they just basically welcomed me in. So I got to big up Mrs. G, because he is a part of a team. And as one flesh. So as much as Eddie has been influential, I always got to give you respect to Mrs. G, because she was the one, she manages the publishing on his side, and I was working for her in the office. So that's a team that I gotta, pay respect both ways.
It's amazing that maybe I don't even know if you know how lucky you were, but it's amazing at that age, and I'm not sure where you were at that time, that you had somebody to help you understand this, because if you know about history with a lot of veterans out there, they didn't get that lesson. They didn't get that lesson about production, they didn't get the lesson about this, that, and are still seeking their music to this day. But you were, it's a very beautiful thing. That's a blessing.
I would have to say that's the Most High, because literally about a little over a year, I had just lost my dad. So when the two sisters left, they were like family to me. So I was basically like a fish out of water. I didn't know what to do in my life and stuff. And I was able to stay there. And I definitely have realized that that's the Most High's hand over me, because, even though obviously even though I could go and check and reference certain things, I still had to go and have uncomfortable conversations as a soul woman, as an indie artist, time and time and time again. And it would only be having that little seed of knowledge to know, okay, no, I know that I can fight for this because I've been warned. But obviously you have to still stand in the storm and face that person, that personality, that organization who's trying to approach you, yet bully you, yet they want you to know something, yet they don't want you to know anything. So it's been interesting. But one thing, having Eddie and Anne, that foundational teaching is to let me know what is possible. it doesn't mean it will happen for me or this or that, but let me know what is possible. I saw basically an international superstar living just like a regular human who just invites me into his family, mow his own lawn, living normal like any other human, you know what I mean? Picking mangoes and breadfruits, eating like a normal person, telling, just letting you know that I'm a real person. So, and then seeing how publishing and the gift of songwriting could translate into something more than being so dependent on, the trends of today. When you keep writing, that's your equity. So even though I had to go through my own uncomfortable conversations throughout my life, having that little knowledge made me know certain things were possible. So I'm real thankful for that.
Yeah, that is a blessing. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Ask you though, you're writing, and I see that you've written for many, but where does the inspiration come from? Does somebody give you an idea, or is it just naturally just you saying, okay, I think that if I write this for this person, or just write it, like how does it work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
when it's for me, like let me answer from the now. Like now I've been given this the third time. A lyricist has given me just bald lyrics, and I have to make a melody for.
Okay.
And that has never really, this is the third time that this has ever happened. And this is a different songwriting muscle because it's just lyrics from somebody else to write a melody to. So that is a different songwriting muscle. But my default is usually, sometimes it might just be a conversation I had or conversation I heard or news that I saw that stirred up an emotion or feeling of some sort of injustice or some feeling that stays with me that I feel, okay, Father, you want me to share this, not just ruminate on it or just write in my journal or just cry it out. This is something that might become a song. And sometimes it starts with my guitar when I might just be like tinkling on the guitar, just relaxed, and then I might feel like, okay, I'm onto something, this feels like this could be a song, and I just like marinate in it a little bit out, and I will feel like, okay, what word does this sound like? What vibration does this feel like? If this were a word, what would the word be? Or sometimes, what do you want me to say? And then the song would either start to spill forth, and then there's other times when I'm walking, I might be catching a bus or something, and a phrase might come to me, and I'll feel like, okay, this is something to either write down in a book or in my notes in the phone. And then there's other times when people might say, oh, I have a rhythm, which is what was happening in Jamaica. And they'll give you a rhythm and you have to write, but you have to write respectfully, that is not you. You're writing for somebody else. So I can't impose my thoughts on you. However, I cannot go against my character or my morals to harmonize with what you might say. And thankfully, the people that I was able to write for at the time, I was able to write something that was cool for me to stand by and that they liked, because that there was still a lot of tweaking. Like Vegas is very meticulous, even though he writes a lot of songs and releases a lot of music, he doesn't just take any and any songs. So there was a lot of tweaking, this and that. But with certain songs, he was like, yeah, this is it. And so it's very very dynamic. That's what kind of made me realize, okay, you really are a songwriter, because it's different routes in writing a song. It's obviously it's harder to present a song to somebody, because then it's up to if they like it, if they like this part, if they did. But I try not to be dogmatic about everything. There's certain things I don't want to budge on, and I'm cool with that. But other things I will say, okay, well, how could I, let me see, would this be better? Would that be better? But it definitely is harder than when I just naturally just flow, either with my guitar or something like that. That's just more natural for me. But I try to keep an open mind to a healthy degree, when it comes to songwriting.
So what was it like? Because this is one of my favorite artists. What was it like writing for Luciano?
Oh, this might be a disappointing answer because he was never there when I wrote it.
Oh, he was never. Okay.
I mean, I met him at the launch, at the
Okay.
album launch. But you know, writing for me is usually just me in a room at some obscene hour, or just early in the morning, or just different parts of the day, just in a room by myself. And so when I was writing those songs with Lucci, I had to write 4 songs in a day, and that was one of the 4 songs.
Oh,
But
wow.
obviously so what happened for writing for them is I didn't just write for them, I had to, like, you know, listen to their songs, listen to the common denominator, the message they're saying, what key do they sing in, because my voice is higher than his, you know, all those logistics have to be thought of and stuff. So that was just, as usual, I was in Jamaica at the time, but as usual, I just sent it to Vegas. He would have been on the road as usual, and then he sent it to Lucy, and then I heard, okay, yes. So that was the one that sweetly enough was just, they liked it and they went ahead with it. So, but I don't even think he knew I'm the songwriter, because when I saw him at the launch, we literally just played pool. But I'm not the type of person who'd be like, oh, you know, I wrote He's Alive and Well. I just played pool and went on my merry way. So I don't think he even knows.
So, can you tell us what songs you wrote?
For what? Vegas? Vegas is out. Oh gosh. Well, for Luciano, it was it's Vegas and Luciano, and it's called He's Alive and Well.
Okay.
For Nadine Sutherland, it was Magical, even though I don't use those words in these times, but at that time it was Magical. And for Natel, who's another Jamaican brilliant singer, was So Sorry. And I feel like there was and then for Vegas there was, well, Sweet Jamaica, and then I can't remember, it's like 7 Above the Water, Roses in My Garden, and must be about 4 other tunes. I can't remember them offhand. 7 or 8 tunes off his Beautiful Life or his Sweet Jamaica double album.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And your name's on these albums, correct? Your name is okay, you got your credit for that.
Vegas was very meticulous about that, which is good, because certain things were uncomfortable for me at that stage. But yeah.
Okay. That's girl. Let's start. I don't even know what to say about her, because look at this beautiful young lady. You've done so much and you're still going. It's like, girl.
Yeah, I mean, she has done quite a bit.
She's done a lot.
And, you know, from what I'm hearing from your conversation with Miss Mango, is, you know, you have some principles and standards to which you will not bend. And that's great. It's time when we see how we're going in a certain direction, you know? Very important.
Yeah. It's not always popular. You just try to always it's a tough balance, but you know, you have to stand for something and then you speak the truth in love. Right. So thankfully, for the most part, if I have those uncomfortable conversations, I'll let person know it's not, you know, I don't mean to offend, it's just a certain thing. And for the most part, that has most has just taken care of me in that regard. Because as you know, it's getting tougher and tougher.
Money, right?
Huh?
You're not just doing it for the money.
No, sir. For a matter of fact, I ain't get that yet. This is all for the love so far. This is love fueled, you know. But you know, we seek his kingdom first, you know, and his righteousness, and all those things shall be added unto us. So if there's one thing I done, live in my car twice in my life. I went through some seasons where I had and I didn't have. I had 25 cents for my birthday and a sweet beach swim, and I've had a little bit more. So this is definitely not for the money. And you know, he adds blessings of the Lord, and he add no painful toil to it. So in good time, you know, that will come. But if it's one thing he knows and me know, that it has not been for, you know, the dollars and cents. I live a very very low maintenance life, let's just put it that way. But all in good time, if that is his will. But that's not my motivation.
And I hear you. Now my line of questioning comes from knowing many of these greats and what they went through. I'm gonna just jump into your business now. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what this segment called Jumping Out Your Business. Right?
Okay.
Now, you've written some great songs for many of these great people. And one of the songs you wrote for Mr. Vegas, as you were discussing, was Sweet Jamaica. I love that video so much. Actually, Jamaican Tourism Board need to take that song and make it the national whatever it is.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yes.
You look at it and you're looking at your bank account, you're saying, we need to book a trip. Well, I've got a bit more saving up to do.
It's true. That is a real that's a beautiful video. Yeah, they couldn't have done a better job, that really, really matched the love that was poured into the song and the beautiful part of Jamaica that doesn't get a lot of the shine. So yeah, I'm with you. That video is gorgeous.
Now, here's the Jumping On Your Business part. It's such a phenomenal song, which I am suspecting did very, very well, right? God's name, do you not get paid for a song like that?
In drizzles, I would, from my experience.
Okay, let me ask you another question in addition to that. Would that be somehow to lack of business knowledge, or am I jumping too far in?
No, that's okay. That's okay. You're speaking real, because like every time it's explained to me, you hear like, oh, music is a business of pennies. You get some of, what is it? A sum of a lot as opposed to all of nothing. And you hear that a lot. So because I was given a rhythm, basically 50% goes to the originator of that rhythm, because the rhythm is who basically gave me the inspiration to write the lyrics, So, and even though some musical producers don't really move like that, some artists do, and Vegas was clear about that. And I was grateful for the opportunity to be able to write for Vegas. So I don't know, how do you say it? I don't know. I didn't know as much as I did then. However, I wouldn't change it. Yeah, because the percentages had to split when, I don't know if you know about Shaggy and Josie Wales had also come in and written their verses. So then for their version, right, you just split the pie more. So the pie always splits like that. And I'm not the most bullying person when it comes to pie splitting. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And at that time I was really grateful to be able to write. Obviously as you grow, you make different decisions. However, I'm able to have this conversation because I was open to that, and that really changed. I always knew I was a songwriter. It's just nobody else knew. So that changed the conversation, because it's very hard for me. I don't really lead with, oh, hi, I'm Indra. This is all I've done. You be around me for months, years, and you will never know, because that's really not my jam. It's one of those things where I've gotten some, because I'm registered with PRS, which is in London. I have gotten some surprise checks, because they do checks every 4 months. And I with all the originals that I've done, all the songs that I've just written a little here or there, all the jingles and ads and stuff, that's the one. And the ones from Vegas are the ones that actually make a blip, so I definitely could say that I have no regrets in terms of being a part of that, and that was really an encouragement for me, having dealt with some low self-esteem due to some but challenges I had in my life. That really encouraged me as a person and as a songwriter, as an artist, to see beyond background vocals, so you know more and you grow, you have different conversations, but this musical business is a real dance, boy. It's a delicate dance.
Yes, it is. Especially for females.
Personalities, huh?
Especially for women.
I just try to just be like the peaceful path. Let's just the path of least. Let's just get the peaceful path. The me and both no drama. So so no regrets. You just live, you learn, you grow. And I also don't want to be, sometimes people, well, a lot of times people forget where they were when they get help. I remember very vividly where I was, and at one point it was in my car. So the fact that, okay, yeah, it's some tweaks and stuff here, but I do remember where I was and feeling like I wasn't living my fullest potential in BIM, doing a lot of background vocals and just hiding my little acoustic music, on Reverb Nation. So, it's just all thanks. We give thanks in all things. And that was one thing I'm still thankful for.
Well, I have to say, just listening to your journey, as humble as you are and stuff, and you just talking about your surroundings. I'm hearing you talk about cows and maybe goats and all that kind of stuff.
No, not goats. We got sheep out here. I ain't about them goats at all. Sheep. Only sheep.
Goats ain't no joke.
We ain't about them goats at all.
Well, I'll tell you something, just seeing that to me, that is paradise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just, just visualizing the beaches, the sea, the air, the fresh fruits. It's like all that. And I hear your album, it's refreshing. It's like I'm getting a dose of where you're actually living at.
That's what we wanted. That's what Kris and I wanted. We were like, because sometimes I have friends and family all around, and I understand that when I'm in the cold and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so dark so early. I can't garden so I didn't want people to feel like melancholy or sad. We wanted to feel like we're gonna bring the Caribbean to people who would love to be there musically. So I'm so glad you said that. Yeah. That's what we really were hoping that you would feel,
Yeah, we would. I listened to the album. It's like getting a dose of the Caribbean. To be honest, I wasn't sure where you came from, even though I'm saying that she must come from an island somewhere.
Yeah,
island vibe on getting. However, you listen to the album, and you didn't stray away from the principles of dub or anything like that. You kept it real. However, it was refreshing to hear some of your. What do you call it?
Acoustic?
Acoustic.
Yeah, that's Kris on guitar. Not me though. I just had to say that because he's miles better on guitar than me.
Right.
But yeah.
The guitar work was just beautiful, and your voice just accompanied it very, very well. One of those greats, like we were saying, and one of such voices that I ever respect so much is people like Sade. And I can't liken your voice to that group of greatness. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
It's greatness from Indra,
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what to say.
But it really is. And I just keep it real. That's why I like this show. We can just be ourselves.
We can just be ourselves and tell you, like, this is what we
do. And we don't bend, do we, Sharon?
No, we do not. No, we don't. We tell it like it is, good, bad, or indifferent, but you are something else.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Something else. You haven't even hit your greatest potential yet. And it's the humbleness of your surroundings. God has shown you the good and the bad of coming up into this world. Not everybody's able to handle what you handle, right? They go through that, and sometimes the stress and depression of that will keep them down. You chose to understand the importance of it, because you said you've lived in the car twice, you know what it is. You had 25 cents for your birthday. You didn't let that break.
So, yeah, because you still got life. You still got life, Yeah,
right.
Still got life. That's what I hope other people, get from the encouragement in the songs. That's why I really hope that, that it could be like they could speak life over their life, in singing these songs, because we all go through things and a lot of people, sometimes it's cultural, sometimes it's just relational, or they feel like they can't, or maybe it's not safe to share with somebody, or they're going through it alone. So that's why I would really hope that, at least for themselves, that they could, know that they could grow beyond, not give up. You got breath in your lungs, So, that's what I hope thanks for that. And I definitely hope that we could encourage somebody else who's listening or will listen, you know,
Well, that's
just
the whole
to
point.
don't give up.
You hit the nail right on the head, because it's not just your inspirational music, it's you talking. That's why I'm going in that direction. That you went through everything. You went through stuff like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You chose in this life, I always say you have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Chose to go forward as opposed to when it beats you.
Yeah.
As another notch under your belt, like, boy, I don't want to be there again, you know. I'm have to work harder, or I have to, you know, do this or do that. Some people don't have any of it. But you talking and speaking your truth will help other people when they go back and listen, like, who's Indra? And they look and they listen like, wow, wow, I just feel so inspired. You're very inspiring for a young lady, very inspiring. And again, you have not even hit your full potential, child.
No, sir.
What God has for you, boy. It's exciting to see and very refreshing. Very refreshing.
I tell you what, I get a sense that she's been here before.
What did I say in the beginning? The old spirits, I said her. She may not know some of their names, but they know who she is. I said that for a reason.
She's been here before. She's just come back again.
She has. See that?
Yeah.
Precisely.
Come back again to bomb up the world.
See that? Now that may I say.
Yeah.
Precisely. You understand, my child?
Nothing don't escape you. We see it. We see it.
Yes. Nothing don't escape us.
Yeah.
We see what we see.
So let me ask you about your management team, because I'm curious about your management team. So tell me how you came into your management and how this album came about.
Well, right now I'm managed by so it's just my the Most High.
Okay.
Yeah. But the album came about. I used to work with Kris Kemist for years and years. Never knew him like outside of sending background vocals. He was sending project because I have a little home studio, so I do background vocals for producers and artists I've never met around the world. So I was working with him consistently, and so one time I was doing just some acoustic music, and I was like, oh, I wonder if he could do a barter with me, because I barter sometimes with different creatives. I know he plays like excellent guitar and mine is decent. So I said, well, can you play guitar on my tracks? I'm doing an indie project and I will do background vocals. So instead of, we could just even out. And he was like, oh, sure. And so one by one, I started sending and early up, because he is also always about message music and, uncomfortable topics and that kind of thing. And he's a man of substance. So he's picky about what he produces. And then after a couple of songs, he was like, okay, tell me a little bit more about this album. And I said, well, it's, I have produced songs like Shaking Shells for percussion, humming violin, playing sugar and them things. If I can't afford all the musicians, and I would hire a drummer and maybe hire a bassist, but the rest is me banging on my guitar for drums and stuff. So he basically offered to properly produce it for me, and I was relieved, and basically honored. And then when I came to England, new songs started coming forth, like Sharon is saying, new songs, and I found this tone started skitting like a lamb out of me. And the first song was Fresh Water, and he was like, I'm hearing this jazzist kind of, I don't know what's happening, but I feel like my voice is growing and I feel like there's more. So you were basically confirming this little suspicion that I've had. I was like, I don't really know what's happening. And he said, well, I think these songs are more mature than the ones that I started with, which when he said it, I was like, yeah, that is so clear, And so he, kept like meditating every time we did a song, like, okay, I think this one needs to this one needs to go up in the queue, he would say, you know, wake up call. Or certain things I would go to sleep and wake up and be like, seeing something going on in the world. I say, I have an unction, we need to release wake up call right now because of what's going on in the world. That's the song for this time. And so we kind of realized, and I kept telling him, I would just say, you know, the name of the album is Kingdom Call. That came early. So, you know, always remembering that we have our plans, but it's the plans are higher than us. So always be willing to, you know, heed and work to suit. So, and then these new songs started bursting forth, and I recorded 30 songs. So we basically have 1.5 albums lined up. But I will revoice them, you know, because you different maturity, different flavor, sabor is gonna come out of them. And yeah, so there's more to come. And yeah, but that's how Kingdom Call basically introduced itself. It wasn't what it started as. It wasn't supposed to be like that. Yeah, and then over the past 2 years, song by song by song, it's now 12 strong. 12 songs strong.
What was your main vision for? What vision in your head did you have for the album?
Encouragement for the remnant and those who don't know they are the remnant. Yeah, because of, let's face it, beyond just an album, you can release an album anytime, but because of, I was writing songs in the middle of lockdown in Barbados. So that was right in the time when, you know, everybody, well, who know that, okay, something is happening spiritually, a dial is turning. And so the urgency to not just make an album, but to make spiritual food, you know, sonic food, songs of praise, songs of lament, that people hopefully will sing along and arm themselves, you know, literally arm themselves, as opposed to just making a nice song. Because I have a studio and we have guitars, we can record it every single day, and I've done that before. But I wanted to make something that would be received with a, like, who have ears to hear will hear. You know, that kind of but that kind of presence around it. I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, but yeah, so that basically it would be, you know, especially as the things start to get hotter, you know, right now we're dealing with Damascus and more to come, and things will happen very rapidly. So I definitely had to pray also for the armor in making these songs and having the courage to sing songs like lyrics starting Wake Up Call. You know, I might be a little small woman, but these are some big messages in a time when anything beyond bubblegum music runs your risk, you know. But I'm up for the task. So that's basically what Kingdom Call is like. Yes, it's refreshing. Yes, it's lovely. It's sweet. But I hope it's a sustenance, something that's strong, you know, strong growing provisions that will build up your spirit in times to come.
Yeah, I see you're definitely as tough as nails, especially when it comes to knowing what you want to deliver, you know. Before we go any further, you spoke about for the remnants. Now, for those who may not understand what remnant is all about, tell us a story about this particular song. How did this song come to mind? What is it about? And we'll play a few bars.
What's it about? Okay, that's on a topical way, a topical level first, because somebody remnant doesn't know that they are already remnant. And when I turn a few pages back in my life, I would run from certain messages. So I want to make sure I lead with love. But the remnant of something is basically like, if I have a remnant of a drink, it's what's left on the bottom. So basically, as things keep going on in the world, there will be a remnant, whether it's through the things that are happening, the things that are being sent, or the stats getting lower. Read between the lines, remnant. So yeah, as the days are getting hotter, basically the remnant will quicker and quicker know who they are. Maybe you've already discovered, but in terms of now the Most High, this is, even if you historically have never heard of the Most High, but you're starting to see things in the world not really making sense, or things in the world getting hotter than hot, and maybe a lot of distractions being placed in your way, whether it's musically, artistically, however, you feel like something deeper is happening. Chances are you could be. It's not my place to say, but I'm hoping that if it is, you know, it's, you can't change a man's heart, it can't change a woman's heart. It's only the Most High that could do that. So I'm hoping that by including some of those some of his truth, some of the words, you know, scriptural words, that his word will always be better than my word. So in using some of the word that he will call his own, and it's not for me to try to change anybody, wrestle or this and that, because I know how stubborn I was before. And the more you tell me is the more I fought. So it took me being humbled. It took me going through seasons of life to realize, okay, I am totally messing up my life. I need some higher help. And in that humbling is how I got the help. So, you know, we all have that path to go on. But the remnant is basically, as the numbers keep dropping, things get more intense. People, unfortunately, are not able to deal with the storms that are going to come. The remnant is basically who's left, basically. And we all need to encourage each other. We here to iron sharpen iron, encourage each other, but we also have to encourage ourselves. And so even if it's just you and a little melody in your head, I'm hoping that you'll be able to encourage yourself through your own relationship with the Most High, whether that's now or in the future, or maybe through a song that you heard some girl from Barbados sing.
Yes, child. She said, girl, you was not so hard. You was not normal. She not normal. That is not normal.
No, sir.
A special breed, this one.
Okay, she's tough as nails, tough as nails.
Oh, yes.
Oh, girl, you're tough as nails, but I'm a real baby when I'm ready, boy. But he can't cry like me.
I like that.
Yeah, be tough, and I'll go behind a wall and be like, I don't know why I keep getting this mandate, Lord.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's play a few bars of that particular track, and we'll continue our conversations.
Okay.
Some days down my yard forever plays. Read a script up on a page. One go down the rage.
Sharon, come to you.
So what was I going to say now? So your lifestyle, you said, tell me a bit about the farming. Tell me what it is that you love, which to me keeps you so grounded to Mother Earth. I think Mother Earth lives through you while you're able to conduct yourself the way that you naturally are. You're naturally from the soil. You're just naturally from there. And I think just that's what makes your music so rootsy. Right? You're taking it from the root up and expanding. That's how I see you. And that's how I hear your music. Earthy.
Earthy.
Yeah, if that makes sense. Very earthy. So tell me about your planting and your
That's very interesting.
agriculture. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, I got a little forest garden outside. It's small, but I first got into, I have to big up the Sojourner Foundation. It's a charity that I volunteered as a farmer with must be about 10 years ago or something like that. And yeah, about 10 years ago. And I volunteered for a year. It was just so nice. You know, I had just left Jamaica. So after that busy time, it was a relief to remember as I've always loved nature. Same how you describe, always loved nature. I used to be a nature tour guide, and most of my life I spent barefoot. So it was just beautiful to just be in the quiet, in the open air, with the plants, with your hands in the dirt, with just a few farmers, you know, we sharing with the little food that we have. There we're doing snail patrol at midnight, and you're just living, you know, and then you get to hear the music of creation. So that's what I love first thing in the morning when I open my door. Well, I got 2 resident birds, a dove and a little sparky. So They're there to greet me as soon as I open. And the same thing, like, first thing in the morning, I love hearing the birds, and then when you're in the land, you get to see what grew while you were sleeping. It's just so beautiful to be able to be a part of the process of growing food. It's just lovely. And then you realize it's like life, because you gotta be vigilant. Sometimes you lose some to pests. So it's like life, it's relaxing, but there's a lot of hard work, a lot of heavy lifting, and then dealing with the weather, the sun and the rain. But it's just, to me, it's softening, just, it feels like time slows down to the point that time multiplies, so that by the time I'm in the garden, like for 2 hours, when I start early, it's all of a sudden the day like now start, but yeah, I've had a whole day unto myself in the garden already. So I really love that. And then when you could account for where your food comes from, obviously people don't always have the space or the season, so I definitely don't want it to be like anybody feeling bad, because you could do what what you have. It could be something small, it could be maybe you're into flowers. But for me, I just really love growing food and seeing things grow, or being able to just throw all your plant matter from stuff like your salad, and just know that you don't have to throw this thing away. Just pelt it in the garden and things thrive from it. You start to see life come from what looks like dead food. It's just beautiful, Yeah.
Yes, it's a
lovely.
humbling experience. I think that, well, even where I live, my husband made sure, in the garden. And I think, well, my dad was always like that. My parents are Jamaican, and of course they went to the US, but always in the backyard. It was just amazing. He would just go out there, and sometimes the tomatoes or the cucumbers, they were so big. And I remember watching him plant these things, and then I lived here with my husband, and we have our own home. Like we had so much tomatoes and so much greens. I was just fascinated with knowing that you threw those seeds in there.
Yes.
And you see when you come up, I would take pictures of it, like, we grew
that. Every stage.
It was every stage, and it's a humbling experience. It really makes it's life. That's how life is. It's from the root up.
Yes.
Some, just like you said, there were some that didn't make it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, sorry, you take it, you toss it in the pile. Come back again. So I think all these things, that's why I asked you about that, because I know how it feels.
Yeah.
In the US, and we have our own house and a yard big enough to do these things. And
nice.
My favorite vegetable is cucumbers, for whatever reason, I don't know, but watching them grow, oh my gosh. And then taking them off, wash it off, and just bite into it with that. It's a great experience. But I said to say, it transcends into your music too, because you've seen things from the bottom coming up.
Yeah.
Been there from the bottom coming up, and then you start to flower.
Teach. Yes.
And that has so much to do with it. It's a level, it's a respect to Mother Nature. And I think because you are that person you're grounded, earthy, you will excel to the next level. You will reach who you need to reach, The album that you did, Kingdom Call.
Yeah.
It will reach who it's supposed to reach, and then expand from there. Watch and see.
I receive that. That is my hope, We want this to reach all four corners, all four corners.
That's what it is. But I think because you are such a relatively young lady, the youth of today is so misguided. Maybe one track they might go somewhere and just hear this track and stop and really listen. I'm like, wait, who is this person? And go back and research you. And then they find the music that might help them. This is the purpose of music.
I hope so. Yeah.
Period. That's why it is imperative for artists to write positive music, right? Because it might not, no matter what time it comes out, it will reach who it needs to reach. That song or that album will be the catalyst for that person to move on to their next, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing what you're doing. Again, it is refreshing to hear, because
Thank
the
you.
state of the youth today is.
Yeah, I think she set a bent so high, you know, for yourself. You know, I'm even wondering, how do you top a great album like this? You know, and I wish I could play more tracks, but you know, the sound is terrible on Zoom. You know,
That's okay.
I look at this album after hearing it, after playing it last night. I played it again this morning, and I said, this is Billboard music. This is music where nothing's been subtracted, you know. Everything that you need is just like we talk about planting. All the nutritions are in this music.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. You know?
This is what we were hoping for. Yes. Oh, that's wonderful.
And, you know, I look at this and I say, here is an album which I would be happy to see on the Billboard charts or even receiving a nomination to get, you know, a Grammy, you know. So that's how I look at this album. The mixing and the mastering is impeccable, you know.
Yeah.
Really, I'm a what you call it, for mixing and mastering. When I listen to an album, and, you know, master, the writing and composition could be great, right? And the singing could be top. But if the mix and mastering ain't done, I ain't playing 2 seconds of that music. Once I hear the
Yep.
nah, I don't hear them. I hear the second one, and if it says the same thing, man, how can they mix and master a damn album like this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that could make or break what you hear. Well, it would make or break what you hear. Yeah. And Kris is and has been meticulous about the mixing and mastering, you know. So that's really, 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 really good to hear, because you know there was like mix 1, mix 2, mix 3. And you know, I could tell exactly, and now it's all gone down to like mix 10 and all this kind of thing. And I could hear in increments, but you know, when you know you have different specialty skills, you just leave it to them. So, but I know that was a big part of it. He was like, no, this has to sound on par with anything else, the best of the best. So that's really good to hear, because he was very, very I'm going to use the Eddie word, pedantic about it, or meticulous about it.
Yes, I love that. You know, so big up Kris Kemist, and you know, done with the album. Who was on drums? Ben Bell.
Drums were not always though. Ben Bell played on 3 tracks.
Okay.
Winston Williams played, aka Horseman, played on most of the tracks,
right?
Yeah, most of the tracks apart from the acoustic ones.
Right.
Yeah, so we had quite a few musicians, and that's what was important too, to have the live music element.
Right.
So yeah, there's musicians from, I think it's 5 countries, playing different instruments. So yeah, that was very important.
Where's Reality Shock Records? Which country are they from?
UK. So it's a Reading based label.
Reading, okay.
Brilliant. Okay, so
20 years of production this year, actually.
Wow, 20 years.
20 years, yep.
And it sounds fresh. So to say, if you write good music, that it will always come across timeless.
Right.
You
know? Okay.
And I guess that's the other thing I observed about this album. Is there's a timelessness to it. Did you know that's what you were doing?
I know consciously. I know I have a theory or a belief that's like good music doesn't expire.
Mm,
So, but I never consciously, yeah, I never consciously put that out. I just, have faith that even if something, because sometimes in Barbados with these carnivals, people
mm,
have like, okay, we bring it this year, this year, this year, and that always seems so peculiar to me. When the world is so big, people are always discovering something. It might be
mm.
old to you,
Yeah.
but it's so. But I never consciously had that revelation like you
Mm,
did that insight about
mm.
it being timeless. So that's good to hear
Yeah.
because that's what I would hope.
Yeah. In your bio, you talk about the conflicts that are
Mhm.
going on in the world. What affects you in the world that makes you wanna, sing about it and get the information to the people? What are you hoping that listeners of your music will understand about you?
I really hope they understand more about life than focusing on me per se. I know, obviously, that's the norm. You discover the song, you want to know more about the artist,
Mm,
but a big part of me sharing with them is that we going through life. I'm not going to be there with you as you're going through life. So, even beyond me, what I would really hope is that um like I have my heart aches in particular for like say homeless children, or for just person living just by themselves and feel like they're um they're forgotten, like people who think they're forgotten.
mm,
Those are people who might not, they might be going through a horrible situation and maybe haven't told anybody or feel like nobody can see or nobody's willing to help or nobody's cares enough to hear or too busy to hear. It's kind of those kind of those kind of things break my heart. So I'm hoping that people in those situations or people who might just need daily encouragement, but really those people who may not have been exposed to encouragement at all. There's some people who don't really know what hope is in a tangible way,
mm.
who maybe haven't seen the sunny side of a situation, who
Yeah.
maybe have been going through, whether it's an illness or some sort of abuse or some sort of oppression or just some struggle that they may be ignored or unseen or forgotten. It's really those people I would really, really hope that
Mm,
they could, even if it just opens their mind or opens their heart a little bit,
mm,
then that's all the most I need. It just needs an opening. And also, I would really hope, I don't know, I think that it is possible, but I would really hope that even people who um, might not think that they have a softer side, that
mm,
one or two songs or the album can just slip through the cracks in a heart and maybe soften a heart of somebody who might be on the other side of the spectrum and might be an oppressor or might be a thing and might hear something like Tables Turn to say, oh my gosh, if the tables were turned.
mm.
It's not my place to say, oh, and then they will change. I don't know how that goes. That's all between them and the Most High and whose child they are. But I really hope that beyond the songs that it's people know that they're not alone, that suffering can be temporary, and that the way we perceive things, because you could get used to suffering too, you could get used to self-pity, you could get used to those things.
Yeah.
So to get beyond it, you got to start, your mind has to unlock, you got to renew your mind. So hopefully that people can have renewed perspective and start speaking life over their life and maybe treating other people how they would like to be treated.
Then do you feel, I mean, I hear what you say, and as Beverly Notes said, such a wholesome answer. Responded. And I totally agree. However, human beings, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that we have to unlearn to relearn,
Yeah.
because a lot of things we've been taught were lies. We're seeing a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things happening before our eyes. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of things we see is slowly becoming normalized. Things
Yeah.
now, back in the 70s, if I heard these things were going on, we'd be, what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now we see these things happening, and it's like, oh, poor son. All right. Next thing.
Yeah.
You go make a cup of tea within a split second. You've even
Yeah.
forgotten about whatever you've just seen, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, a lot of smoke screens have been sent to us, yeah, that we visualize. On social media, we see things like, you know, whatever it is, racism,
Yeah.
discrimination. You see a lot of this madness going on in the US. It's happening here in the UK. So people are slowly becoming consumed. And
Yeah.
I want to use that word by the wrong thing. However, these are concerning things, but I truly believe these are smoke screens for bigger things that
Yes.
for us to. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
All
I'm
distractions.
thinking, here is this person like you who are trying to open people's minds, and it seems to. I'm hoping your album doesn't get lost in the mix.
Yeah, I totally I over exactly what you say. And there's always that possibility. However, because prophecy will come to pass, there will come that time. Just like lockdown just came out of the blue while everybody thought that year was they were gonna live their best life.
Yeah.
So reality always happens, and it's in those real life jolts that maybe something you thought you ignored completely may flash to mind. So that is my hope is that things don't have to get dread for you to know, be scrambling, because we don't even know how long the net will last. Even take, so it's, we take a lot of things for granted. The thing I think that happens with a lot with numbing down of society and with people happens, unfortunately, through these devices we're using it for something good now, but I think when we flood our minds, or if we flood our minds with things coming through these screens and screens and screens, it could is less time with the Father, is less time with the Most High. So I think we got to kind of take responsibility for the ratio to make sure that whose connection is stronger, because we're connected with these things, but they really disconnect people in a lot of way in terms of spirituality. And sometimes it's until a wake up call happens that we wake up. So it's really not my I can't, it's not my power, and it's not my call, and it's not my capability to control how people receive it. I just have to put a lot of prayer behind it, and it's all according to the will of the Most High. And he loves his own, so he will try in any form constantly try to reach you. However, it's just up to you to decide if you will let it in. But definitely the way things are going with people becoming more numb, and it's sad and it's scary, because as you know, like you say, there's always spiritual that's going on that informs the physical. So but prophecy will come to pass. So you either have to at some point we have a choice to wake up, and then there is the reality that many are called but few are chosen. So all I could do is my part, and pass on the words and pour love in the music, and know that he will take it where it's supposed to go. And it's people, because of that love, we all have a choice. You let it in or you don't let it in. And even if you don't let it in now, it's possible that maybe one little something that you heard, you may reach for like it's oxygen mask when the storm rail comes. So it's possible.
So how do you begin, you and your team? I know you say you don't have a management, right? But
yeah, but I do have divine helpers, so it's not me fueling myself.
Right. Now, how do you begin to push this album out? What is the process you're taking to get it to the wider audience? And let me add on to that. Since the release, what has the feedback been?
Okay, well, the first part is Kris has been ironically instrumental in like the promotional engine of the album, because I don't have that reach in terms of like even this conversation, and we have he's been really making it his business to try to see how I could have conversations like these, although I can say every conversation is unique. This one surely is. But conversations with people who have groups of listeners who may be open to receiving music and message like this. So
Yes.
he's basically reached out to people who know people, people who promote and shared parts of the album to see, you know, maybe what they like, what they think, ask for some pointers in terms of direction. Where do we send it? How do we really just not just release the album online? That's been his real whereas I'm like, oh, the Most High will give it to who the Most High, you know, but he's more focused in terms of, all right, yeah, still I need to send out some emails, I need to make some calls and look at my contact list. So and then we've had people who have really just come on board and say, oh, similar to what you say, I see potential, or I see something happening with this music, with this artist or whatever. And it will be people like Philip Gadd, Sue Oliver. There's another lady named Ches Ford. Yeah, and these are people who I've never met. I spoke to Philip Gadd once, but who have basically been reaching out to their networks and seeing, okay, how do we get some interviews? So basically, I've been having like these reasonings almost every week with people in different countries, and they're really helping me with all the parts that I don't know how to do, or it would be very hard to me. I'm not really that hard sell, or I'm the next best thing since sliced bread kind of person. So they're really helping me in that way. So I'm grateful for that, because I would not have known how to, other than just putting on my YouTube channel and sharing it on my blog, how to really reach there. Eddy is sent to his people. He's always support, but in these times, because of the net, which has made it so much easier for like indie artists to share your music and stuff online, it's also hard to pierce through, you know. Now there's so many, you know. So even though the Most High is who is ultimately fueling this, I still have these people, and probably more Shrek, Koteka, hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody, but there's people who basically like making suggestions, oh, reach out to this person, to that person, and that's what's been helping me so far. And David Rodigan, how could I forget? He has been so supportive for years and years and years, since my Jamaica days. And so he's been really instrumental, and, you know, giving people a little chronology, like, oh, I first introduced you to her 10 years ago. And so I'm just really grateful for, I wouldn't have known how to how to basically connect those dots. And I kind of like, as I keep telling Kris, I like to be, you know, in tune with what's happening. Just let me know where I need to be, where I need to log on, what time, and put it in my calendar. But I also need to be close to home, so that, you know, as you witness certain things and certain evolutions happening in different so-called artists' careers and their lives, sometimes you see some changes that they like go far left. And I feel that I don't want to take for granted that, yes, I'm well rooted. I want to make sure that I keep checking my roots, and checking some weeds, checking my character, any pride there, them things. So I don't want to get too caught up in the left brain side. Just let me know what's going on, who's this, who's that, what I need to do. And let me make sure that these songs and richer songs, these songs I'm supposed to come forth through a vessel that's willing, as opposed to now I'm this prideful, I'm the next best thing since sliced bread. So this is my hope.
Well, I have to say one more time that the album is all that and more. And with the nature of the industry, you know, one has to be very, very careful. However, you know, making sure that your music's registered, what is owed on to you, make sure you get it. Sometimes you just have to be, you know, strong enough to enforce, this is my contribution. And this is owed on to me. You got to have those conversations. And I guess have a wonderful team behind you, then it makes it easier for you to, I'm pretty sure, continue to be creative rather than thinking who's doing what to me, who's saying what about this. who is
Exactly.
me out of my percentage, whatever it is. You know,
Yeah.
it is very, very important in this industry. Before I hand over to Sharon, and I keep my mouth shut, right? I want to ask you, how do you perceive the industry today?
I don't really give it much thought, you know. Not that I don't have observations, but I tend to just peek in to see what's going on and then be like, okay, and not get to these things don't really surprise me. You know, at the end is good and evil, really. Basically all things boil down to that. But I just like to focus on what I be given, like my mandate, my calling. I don't like to really study the trends or this and that. The business of it is the part that it could be quite overwhelming if you let it overwhelm you. And I just try to stay set apart without putting myself on a high horse, you know. Yeah, you have observations just like anybody else, but I try not to let it infiltrate my mind or my music.
You leave the high horse to us. We'll put you on the high horse.
Okay.
We'll put you on the high horse. Leave that to Sharon and the rest of you.
Okay.
She's all there and a bag of chips.
I see, you know what I mean? Well, let me ask you about, you're very multifaceted. So let's just go on to author. You are you write songs, but you've written 3 books, is it? Am I correct? 3 books.
It's probably about 6 now. Some of them are ebooks. Yeah, some of them, the last ones, because it's printing stuff is very costly in Barbados. So I learned through the years to just go to ebooks for now. Although my last one was a cookbook. Yeah, a vegetarian cookbook. First one was something like I should really remember these things, but it's like finding the human being, finding your purpose in 15 steps, something like that. I wrote it a long time ago. Yeah, and then I had shared some of my trials and stuff, and that kind of opened the doors for going into schools and like speaking to some youth groups who were going through some challenges and stuff. And then some of them evolved to like navigating music conferences as a woman, reaping through your songwriting. Yeah, I don't even have a list. Oh my goodness. But yeah.
Yeah, see that? You never know what
I used to write short stories from a child. I used to have quite a few short story series and stuff. So it's kind of natural. Yeah, just always been writing really.
So is Indra your given name or is Indra your stage name?
Both. Yeah, again, my given name and my stage name. I used to go by Indrani, which was a nickname that some people used to call me, but my actual name is Indra.
Indra, okay. So people want to find your music, they're going to look for Kingdom Call album by Indra, is that right?
Yeah, and it's on all the digital platforms, Amazon, what's that, on Google Play and iTunes and Spotify. Yeah.
Because I want to, because
it is there.
We have an amazing. I'm sorry to cut you. Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say, because in the chat room, we're going to be turning it over to if anybody wants to, say a couple of words to Indra before we end the show. My favorite DJ is in here, DJ Maestro. And when DJ Maestro hears good music, he puts it on the station. Now, I actually got to listen to the radio station because, of course, I'm here in the US. The radio station, I think, is primarily based in London. So I actually got to listen. I timed everything because I always miss the time. And I love you, DJ Maestro. You play the music of life. And when you hear this young lady's music, you are going to want to play it. So that being said, if there's anybody in the chat, anybody in the group who wants to say a few words to this beautiful queen.
Oh my goodness.
See before us, please unmute and do so. But I'm expecting DJ Maestro to say something, so I'm just gonna call you out. DJ
Pressure.
Maestro.
Pressure.
Pressure.
You've definitely called me out. Oh, Sharon, thank you for that. 10-star, everybody in the room. Indra.
Yes.
What Sharon just said is definitely you're going to be featured on my show. That's for sure. That's for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, I was listening to a few of your tracks off your album today, and just like your cover, the way I think that's you on the cover.
Yeah.
Looking out on the beach.
Yeah.
That's how I'm imagining you recording all those tracks from the beach.
Yes.
On your lounger, just you
Yes.
alone with the headphones
Lounger,
and your
man,
notepad
on the sand.
and doing them. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
what you put down on those tracks was just breathtaking, man. I just can't.
Yeah.
It's just hard to describe. It's just you know, what's the word, kind of creme de la creme, as they call it.
Oh God.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh. So what I'm saying, listening to your story, and even you've written for some big stars in the past. Some of the tracks that you've mentioned, I just love those tracks. You know, Mr. Vegas and Luciano.
Yeah.
So for you, you're so multi-talented. It's you're gonna be soaring. It's endless to where you're gonna be going. But as Sharon said, I definitely will be playing some of your tracks on my show. That's no doubt about that. You know what they say, when you hear good music, you feel no pain. Bob Marley said, "Oh, I'm telling you, it's all real." So all I can say is keep on doing what you're doing. Blessings to you, and you can only go from strength to strength, and that's where you're going. So, yep, Sharon, thank you. I will be featuring on the show at some stage.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, take care. All.
Okay, all right.
Thank you,
Maestro.
Maestro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else would like to say a few words to this?
And it's true, because Indra has the $1 trillion voice.
She does.
Oh
She
my
does.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
$1 trillion voice. And it's almost like a voice is an instrument.
Yeah.
And it is the right frequency, everything.
Right. Frequency is everything else.
If you suffer, anybody out there, right? I'm putting it out there now. If you suffer insomnia, why not? It's called Hidden Core. You will sleep like a baby.
Wake up refreshed.
Wake up refreshed.
Oh yeah. And that's the kind of album it is. It's
refreshed and renewed.
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 Really come here to hear the voice. I pray the album really does well. I pray, at some point I'm seeing this album is out for Grammy consideration. Who knows what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
Because I believe you'll get to the right place.
Never know.
And sometimes with albums like this, what you find is you continue to create and create. So you may go 2 or 3 albums in before people get to recognize your first album.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I got you, so let me go.
So I would say to you, just keep on creating, as Maestro said, that creme de la creme.
Yeah.
And make sure you add the creme. Because if there's no creme, there's no creme.
Yes.
I wish you the best for your future. And anytime you want to come back, we'll be happy to receive you. Thanks for those involved on bringing you onto the show. God bless you all. And Sharon, over to you.
Again, it's been a pleasure. I will absolutely be staying in touch with you. I'll have you getting your contact details. I will be checking on you, young lady.
Thank you.
Moreover, I am keeping that because I'm not sure when I'm going to go, but I will be back in Barbados because I love it.
Lovely. Lovely.
I
Well, show
love
me
it.
when you get here.
Oh, I will. Trust me, girl. I
Indra,
will.
Indra, if Sharon goes to Barbados, make sure you get her to milk a cow
Oh, I don't have no problem
We'll
milking
be
it.
doing it together for the first time.
or sheep milk.
I've done it before. No worries,
Okay.
but milk some cow.
But you better me. You were going to teach me.
Yeah, all right. But it has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, lovely.
Your journey, your story, and who you really are. You've definitely spoke your truth. We honestly admire and respect you as an upcoming artist. And I'm saying upcoming because it's now about you, not you writing for somebody else. It's about you right now. But as an upcoming artist, we respect what you're doing. We love what you're doing, and we 1,000% support what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm really not joking. My ass will be out there in Barbados. Carl, me love it out there. Anyway. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
You take care, and anytime anything new comes up, we're here. We support.
Oh, thank you.
What's going on? You are so welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thanks to everybody also in the chat room too. Everybody listening. Thanks very much. It was so good. It was such a good conversation.
Well, see, and you said it right. Conversation.
Conversation, yeah.
It was
It's
that's
true.
what we do. It was our
Yeah.
reasoning. This is what you call our reasoning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's true. It's a good reasoning for real.
Yes. Yes.
Anything
All right.
you'd like to say to
Lots
her?
of love. I'm going to be. See ya.
Oh God! Wait.
Bye.
What's that?
She's going to the beach.
Oh my God, rub it in.
Yeah, like
No, not rub it in. I'll send a wave your way. All right, bye.
Enjoy. Thank you so much.
All right.
Take care.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
see
We're
ya.
going to get out of
Okay.
here, guys, and thank you guys for being on the show today. We're going to be back next week. Who is our guest next week, Shaz?
Oh wow. Who is our guest next week? Our guest next week is going.
Okay, but join us next week. We have 2 good shows next week, and we're just going to get out of here now. And I was going to
Certainly.
sing us out.
Who's gonna sing? Oh, Indra. Yeah.
Can you give us a little?
Oh, it's a good thing I'm here.
Walk
Walk in love and keep a clean heart. Every day's a chance to make a brand new start. Watch that pride that tries to hide sometimes. Stir up the love and make it bubble and arise. Stay inside of the light. Try to live right, walk by faith, not by sight. Unite. When those darker days come, keep shining your light and just to seeking wisdom, 'cause you are so blessed. I am so blessed. Yeah, yes, we're so blessed. Everything is so blessed.
Booyah, booyah, booyaka, booyaka, booyaka.
How to baby notes. All right.
Ladies and
Enough
gents,
love.
that's all, folks.
One love. One love.
One love.
But anyway, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you. We're out. Thank you.
All right then. Bye-bye.
If you enjoy the content we provide on this YouTube channel, then why not help us by subscribing to SPRB Radio Podcast? Thank you in advance.